Judge Zugner, live.
Hey, I present the bailiff for the case with a brief explanation of the case. Bull McCrary.
Thank you, Judge Zugner. Honorable Judge Zugner, we're lucky to have him today. He's busy. Okay, on the night of January 21st, two of our friends, Mr. Ray Drifter Rutherford and Danny the Lugitive Bratton, had a little collision. There's a discrepancy of who hit who, where it happened, and how it happened. They're only off by about 3 miles, 2 miles. We're here today. We're here today to decide who's right and who's wrong, who's lying. You know, today, while half the world is concerned about William Jefferson Clinton and his problems, we have gathered here today some of the finest legal minds in the country. I think that you'll see by the end of this trial who's right, who's wrong. Remember the Alamo. Thank you. Lee Bailey and his...
I'm guilty. I'm guilty, I tell you.
Juror Joe Falcone.
Let me know when you're ready, Cameron.
Go.
You heard it, so that was for the record.
Plaintiff slash defendant. Got no legal representation. What are we going to do about that?
One of the jury's paid him off already. Let me know when it starts.
Go.
Joe.
Does it go?
Leo, red light's recording, right? Red light's recording, right?
You get your beer?
You've heard the introduction to the trial by the bailiff Bull McCrary. Let's go around and introduce the principals.
Okay.
Young Dan Bratton, the lugitive.
Innocent.
His attorney, George Flea Bailey Garinger.
Good morning, gentlemen.
There's a juror over in the background. He's really intense on this. Joe. I don't know anybody ever, Falcone.
Honest Joe.
And there's Ray Rutherford, the drifter.
Shifty.
He drives the best vehicle in town.
Doesn't go over 30 miles an hour.
Never. His driving record is impeccable.
Speed's not
And in the back over there's Randy Van Houten, the honest plumber. John, I'll take a bribe Dix, but he wanted football Sunday. He doesn't need it now. Dr. Mike Pettis got booted off. No, Dr. Mike Pettis is on the jury. Steve Bell is a character witness, or excuse me, Stewed Bell. And Stevie Keel, an observer. And there's Don, there's another observer, and Leo disappeared somewhere. He's a juror. The trial will proceed as follows. Opening remarks, 5 minutes total between George Garinger goes first, and then Drifter.
Don't forget my counsel and abstention.
Oh, Dave Kudrina. What is it? Perry Lee Mason Kudrina.
Take a look at
It's
this.
supposed to be here any minute.
Take a look at the
Thanks,
door.
Doc.
This is supposed to be a seat. Come take a look. Representation is
Pretty slim. Pretty slim.
With Drifter's reputation, who wants to represent him? Opening remarks will be held in 2 minutes apiece. Drifter won the coin flip. He will go first, present his case. He's got some very nice drawings, nice exhibits. Flea Bailey will be able to cross-exam for 5 minutes. And then Mr. Brad will present his case for 5 minutes. Ray or his attorney, if he shows up, 5 minutes. And jury deliberation, we're allowing 5 minutes. So it better be cut and dry. And I'm dishonorable judge. Hey, when this is going on, let's quiet down in the background. You're jurors, you're supposed to be watching.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We are.
Sorry.
Opening remarks to lead off, Danny Bratton.
First
George
of all,
Garinger.
First of all,
time out.
Move it off, sir. Don't worry, if you miss the opening remarks.
First of all, Judge Zugner, I'd like to make a motion for declaratory judgment against Mr. Rutherford. We want attorney fees, emotional stress, back pain, pain and suffering. And the reason we want this document in itself is a admission of guilt. He typed it himself. We want 3 rounds of beer right now ordered.
I disagree. The motion is denied because he's already a stumbler and a mumbler. 3 more injuries ain't gonna hurt him any. Okay, you got another minute left.
For my opening remarks?
Yeah, I denied that opening deal.
Okay, my opening remarks are going to be short and sweet, like my plaintiff here. Hey, this is is an easy case.
Where's the rest of the
The admission of guilt, the admission of guilt is right in my hand, written by the defendant himself. He puts himself down to defend it. That is an admission of guilt. There is no case here. We shouldn't even be going to trial. The attorney doesn't even want to show up.
Kuganov here! Kuganov!
Hey, wait a minute!
Kuganov!
Here he comes to save the day!
I'm sorry I'm a little late, but I had to go. One of my clients just got the chair and they didn't pull it.
Well,
Okay, here 2 minutes are starting, Rip. You're done.
wait.
Give 30 more seconds to Kudrack get a beer.
The,
You need one. Hold on, Ray George has 30 more seconds, or his client.
were you hustling down there to get paid?
Anyway, all you guys have to do as jurors is to have a vision in your head. Vision of Ray's truck. A vision of Danny Brandt's pristine truck. You can go look out. It happens to be in beautiful shape. We believe not only will we prove that Ray is at fault, he did it intentionally. As past history has seen, he took Mr. Cooperman to the frills.
I remember that case years ago.
And by the way,
Okay, time's up. Ripner, Kudrack, you got 2 minutes. Opening remarks.
It's very clear that this case is cut and dry. My client has been not only damaged in many ways, emotionally hurt.
and you're supposed to be helping him.
I'd like to continue on
Objection,
vision.
Judge, who's getting the say?
Hey!
I like to
Attorney
We would also like to extend this vision of a driver who, it has been quoted in this courtroom as you can find his way home by following the tire marks on the curbs. It also
I never got lost.
It also is very clear, and I have proven statements, okay, that you have been a danger to society in that vehicle. And we not only will prove that you hit my client, but it was on purpose.
Opening remarks are done. Okay, now.
I didn't tell either.
What do we do? I've never run this sucker.
Okay.
Well, maybe a little break.
You have to present your exhibit. The jurors all seen the exhibit.
What exhibit?
What exhibit?
His. Exhibit A, what Kudrack reads.
It's only on
Is he
focus.
gonna call witnesses or what?
Focus is
Well,
right here.
he can, he wants, he got 5 minutes. Quit giggling and start presenting. I haven't seen it. Oh, the attorney has come my time.
I've been busy
Judge
this week.
Zucker, we motion that this is put into his
Let's spell
evidence.
code over there.
Judge Zucker, we motion that.
As long as you see the red light, it's on.
Your 5 minutes is ticking.
Excuse me, I didn't mean.
Right there.
You're risking boring the jurors right now.
I think I'm gonna have to put my client on the stand to defend himself in this case.
You're on the stand.
Quickly,
What happened?
tell us exactly, in your own words, how you were damaged.
It's quite simple. It's actually quite simple. It's cut and dry. After meticulously trying to get Mr. Danny B positioned into his truck after a thumping at Gillies on the shuffleboard, we decided we'd go to breakfast. And as the cars were laid out, I ended up going out first and headed out 120th, took the left-hand turn.
That is.
Shut! Out of order.
Took the left-hand turn to
Liar.
You were heading east at that time, I
Objection, Your Honor. He's leading his own witness.
No, he doesn't remember.
I agree. He needs it.
Heading into the turn lane at 120th and Maple, attempting to make a turn going east. Light turned green, made the left-hand turn, cruising down the street, minding my own business, trying to figure out where my next turn was going to be, when bang!
Oh!
He was sideswiped by this.
Objection, Your Honor. We're on a cross-examination. We're on examination.
that last remark.
Regaining the wits about myself after that intrusion.
How long was that?
The 12 PPR is a long time.
I saw Mr. Bratton pull on ahead of me and go on down Maple Street towards 108th. Going on down Maple Street myself, it came time for me to make my left-hand merge so I could turn left, whereupon I looked into my side view mirror
They used to be there.
to make certain that nobody was coming up on my left side when, hark, there's no mirror. Thereby, leading credence to the fact that before I ever attempted to make a left-hand turn at 108th Street,
mirror.
I had to lean backwards to make certain that nobody was coming up.
Okay, your 5 minutes are over.
And then I made my left-hand turn.
Now there's
Oh,
5 minutes of cross-examination.
What did you have for breakfast that night?
I had steak and eggs.
Oh, eggs? Egg?
Eggs, steak and eggs.
Okay.
Okay.
How do you, when you leave World Insurance tonight, what lane do you get in?
I get in the curb lane.
Right, and then what do you do?
It's
right
usually 8 o'clock
right
when we
before,
leave.
right before you get to 120th Street without looking, what do you usually normally do?
Oh, wait a second.
Objection allowed. You're leading the witness.
Where do you go? Excuse me.
Get the ring out of his
Where
nose.
do you go every night after you leave work?
I go straight home.
Perjury.
For the record, I go straight home.
Wait a minute.
So
Remember that, girl.
His wife will not see this tape.
I would like you off the record.
Except Wednesday nights.
And then where do you go?
Well, I usually come down to...
What time do you have to leave tonight? You see you're lying again. Come on.
Belt was thirsty.
All right.
Oh, he's
Okay, here we go. We're back on it.
Mr.
Okay.
Rutherford.
We got 30 seconds left, Garen.
Okay, Mr. Rutherford, have you ever been in a previous accident of this nature?
Oh, once I was, yeah.
And well, were you lucky enough to get a bonus out of this also?
I happened to be in the curb lane when the car merged over and hit me, sideswiped me.
All right.
That's similar to what
And by
happened.
the way, Mr. Rutherford, were you straight home that night too?
I was going to work
Oh, you were going to work that night.
that
So
morning.
you're sticking to your story that A, you go straight home from work, and B, that you got in the left lane immediately after turning left on 112.
and then merged as proper.
Which would make that
The
a
bird to
legal
the right. How do you just left mirror hit?
Yeah, what damages did you?
Whoa!
What damages did your truck incur?
broken mirror.
And what else? Any other damages?
Which side mirror? Judge.
The left driver's side mirror.
And what happened? Any other damages?
The headlight got knocked out.
Oh, the headlight.
It went out.
It went out.
It went out.
Mysteriously. There was no damage to the headlight. It just went out.
No physical damage.
And when
Okay, George. That's the end of the cross-examination. Sorry this trial's so short, but people have to leave. See you, Joe.
See you later.
Mr. Flea Bailey, you have 5 minutes to present your case, including any exhibits you may want to introduce.
all right, I call.
Your Honor, they have no
Or
case.
whatever.
They have no case.
Or whoever witnesses. I would advise having stewed. Well,
Go up. He can't. He's doing the camera.
Your Honor, I fully believe that our case has been cross-examined and speaks for itself, and there's no need for us to call any
we look
witnesses
pretty
at all.
good to Daddy, too.
What we'd like to do is, if anybody wants to, just to make sure everybody understands the situation here, they might want to take a walk to the parking lot and look at Mr. Brett.
No, it cannot be done.
Oh,
Because, no, it cannot be done because we have a limit because my camera.
This is important to my company.
It's not. We didn't.
Wait. I have not had a chance to cross-examine. We will find out.
Who are you?
We're on a short time base. We have to be done by 5:30.
I am
No.
cross-examining you then.
I
George,
don't need to call any witnesses.
all you gotta do is tell us the damages. We cannot go out there.
Okay.
We can't take the camera and we don't have time.
Well,
Period.
Mr. Bratton's truck is pristine. There's no damage except for maybe.
No, Cooter don't use it and it's dirtier than hell.
Oh, look at it.
He took it to.
You looked at it. We just want to say one thing, Your Honor. We don't need to call any witnesses. Their case spoke for themselves.
Call a witness anyway.
Oh, we'll call.
Call him.
Okay? Dave, clear it out, you're on the stand. And you speak.
Yes. My guy's trying to lose a case for him. It's over the show.
He's a witness of this, the shape of the board.
Dan Brad's not very happy with his counsel. He's telling him what to do.
I was trying to win the case. We'll call Mr. Stubon Belt to the stand.
Aye.
Belt's on the stand. Ask him questions. They can
Mr. Belt,
Aye.
what can you tell us about the evening in question regarding specifically the accident?
Nothing.
Perfect. I read my case.
What did he say?
You can cross-examine. Aye.
Okay, we got a little bonus time. We got 5 minutes for the scripture Cooteron team to cross-examine.
Rebut.
I think we need to take another look.
This is not a submission. I can't.
We need to take a look at the perpetrator in this case. What I would like to do is, could you tell me your background, son?
Objection. He's not on the stand. We have not called him as a witness.
Doesn't matter in this court. This is Kangaroo.
No, it's cross-examination. Call him to the stand.
You're on the stand. That is the stand.
We will accept it. Go
Okay,
ahead.
you're on the stand.
Mr. Brett, I ask you,
Cross-examine after he's done.
We'll give
what
it
has
a
your
little-
affiliations been in the past with what I might call questionable folks of gang-related activities? Can you expound on this?
I object. It's irrelevant.
Oh, no. Au contraire, mon frère.
You can't go
All
back.
gang-related.
Hey, you can't go back farther than 5 years.
None. Irrelevant. Objection. Irrelevant.
Counsel.
Conference.
Guess the pictures aren't gonna count.
Pictures aren't doing
Where
much.
was it here? All right.
We gotta decide what intersection
Is
happens.
my voice not
Excuse me?
out?
Yeah, that counts.
Okay.
Were you there? But the fact of the matter remains that with the context that this man has, the ability to have his truck put back in pristine condition from a chop shop would be merely a phone call for this gentleman. On the other hand,
Objection, Your Honor. Is he asking a question? Is he asking a question or not?
Okay, that's it for that one. 2 minutes apiece summation. You go.
I want to question my client now that he brought him onto the stand.
Okay, you get 2 minutes.
Mr. Bratton, whose fault was that accident? Right. Thank you. Mr. Bratton, when you turned left, did you turn left on 120th Street in Maple that night in question? Yes? What lane did you get into?
North side.
Left lane or right lane? Left lane or right? Left or right? Heading towards Baker.
I saw the analog. You gotta keep going.
Rewind, rewind. He said the left lane. He's got his left and right mixed up. What happened?
That's the problem. That was a bad move.
Which lane did you get into?
George is grasping the feet in the jaws of B3.
He got his left and right
All right,
mixed
was
up.
anybody in your lane when you got in that lane, the left lane?
You better be drinking a few.
Okay, how far did you proceed up the street before any contact?
About 109.
109th and what?
Maple.
Oh, and then what happened?
I was turning north. And as in gray, that's what the turning lane starts. And then Ray automatically figured it out. Oh, I need to turn.
And then what
And it
happened?
hit me.
What lane? Were you in the turn lane? There's 3 lanes. Turn lane, middle lane, curb lane. Which
You guys got 2 minutes and then it goes to the jury.
Can I call for a recess?
No, feet on your leg. George, Bratton, you got 2 minutes.
First of all, if this is close, then I think the jurors are as smart as I think they are. I don't care about harassing the jurors, but first of all, Mr. Rutherford, known as AKA Drifter, has proceeded to give us his guilty statement. He says I'm the defendant. He is a admission of guilt. Second of all, he doesn't have a clue.
Have another beer, Judge.
Third of all, my client has told us exactly what happened. Ray doesn't have a clue again. He changes his story. He thinks the car Danny was driving was a Chevy. Guess what? It's a Ford. That's not bad. And now he's trying to say that his front left light went out too. Imagine that. The whole scene of events is simple. All you have to do is look at the case, the questions, and everything. And by the way, no matter what Chumley says, he's guilty. Yeah.
That's Chumley.
That's Chumley. Because he's already spoken for himself. We wanted 3 rounds in an early decision. Now we want 4 rounds.
Well, you'll never get that many, but we'll try for it. Okay, 2 minutes for Drifter Kuternachi.
First of all, speaking of confused, what was that they called you? I can't believe that you would lower yourselves to stoop so low. I mean, when he can't even tell the difference between his left and his right. What lane were you in? Are you in England? Which side of the street are you driving on?
After that,
He's asking him questions.
No, that's his speech. Can't answer. This is
Besides that, you guys, you know where it's all.
Kuternachi, you're paying off guys in our jurors. Stephen Keel's really good.
It's obvious. My client has been damaged, and in fact, we intend to reopen this case in a civil suit against Mr. Bratton for the damages.
Ray, do you have any last statement, Ray?
Wait a minute.
No, then we're gonna cut it to go to the jury.
What about Ray? What about my part?
That's it. Go to the jury.
Okay, each client just say one word, one sentence, one thing.
I have no comment.
Okay, Brad, you got one thing to say.
I stand on my case.
Okay? Case is closed. Now it goes. Well, get over to the judge. Now it goes to the jury. Mr. Nix, Mr. Leo, Falcone, Pettis, and Randy, come in judge's quarters in the next room.
Judge's quarter, you can't influence those.
I'm not. They're gonna go in there, and I'm gonna tell them the rules and what's gonna happen. Turn it off, Steve. We'll be back in a minute. We have a verdict, and the jury will come in now. Jury, come on, led by John Nix, the foreman of the jury. Oh, there's Steve Keel, jury advisor. Nix, come on in, lead the jury in. Stand right back here. This is the organized court. You can have a beer. John Nix is the jury foreman. Remember, Johannes Falcone, Doc Pettis, and the most honest plumber in town. And they don't come.
You gotta stand back here.
Stand back behind the fence here. Get over there.
Last chance, boys.
Jury, there were 2 questions you need to decide.
Last chance.
1, whose fault it was, and 2, what intersection it happened at. Do we have a decision, Mr. Nix?
Yes, sir, Your Honor, we do.
First, on the count of whose fault was it?
Unanimous.
Whose fault?
Ray Rutherford.
And on where the accident happened?
Proximity.
Right.
What are the intersections again?
120th or 108th?
Unanimous. It was closer to 108.
That's yes! Danny Brown is winner, and the Drifter is
We'll see you in a minute.
Sentencing. We need to sentence it.
The sentence is Drifter
Judge,
Wait.
I'd like to motion that the very strict sentence be applied here because this man has just made a travesty of your courtroom. He
And
has
the sentence is Drifter has to buy around. Drifter and his counsel, maybe Kuternachi's got a 20 on him. Case closed.
What about my attorney fees?
That's why they call this Kangaroo
I
Court.
got $500.
Wait a minute, can you say what you think of this verdict,
has been exonerated.
With all that money,
Yes,
on that
that's right, you
settlement,
assholes.
I'm going to Disney World.
That shows you the integrity of the clientele.
Watch this one.
In that case, it turned out pretty much as I expected.
Jury of my peers.
Wow, things change all of a sudden.
Oh, shit.